All right. We are officially live. You're hype.
Yeah, why wouldn't I be?
Oh my goodness. It's the Nola Experience podcast, and I am here with my co host and super producer, Mr. Melee.
What's up?
How's the baby?
Beautiful. I know a lot of people have been reaching out to me all week, but I've just been staring at her for a week straight.
Aww.
So I'm totally obsessed.
So Melee
So,
just got a baby. Just had a
yep.
baby. We had a baby. It's a girl.
Yep. Beautiful gal.
I love it. What's her name?
Juliana.
Oh, I love it. I see her pictures on Instagram and I'm like, oh my
Yeah. I
gosh,
made her a
she's so
little
cute.
IG page,
Love it.
because that's the way of the world now. So,
Do you think she looks like you?
uh, she's starting to look more and more like me. Like when I stare at her, I'm like, oh yeah, she kind of does look like me.
Isn't it crazy how a baby's face changes every
It's
day?
so weird. Every day I'm just
Literally.
like, she
Literally.
don't look like either of us on this day.
Yep. So you're only on the weekends.
Yeah, yeah. Only on Saturday and Sunday she looks like me.
How's mommy?
She's good. She did so good with the labor, so she's all. I'm not 100%, but she's almost there, and she's good. She's fine, just chilling, enjoying the time off, and being a mama.
Yeah,
So
that's like a
good.
super, there is no higher task on
Mm,
this planet that a human is charged with.
and being a mama,
Giving birth is the highest charge, the
I
highest
can
task,
imagine.
you
And I
know.
dare I say, the most pain. I mean, I don't know, but from what I seen, I'm
Oh,
like,
pro-
oh
you know
no.
what's crazy? It depends on the person, really. It really depends
Really?
on the person because when I was giving birth, when I was going through labor, I had a birth plan which included no medication. Yeah, I showed up at the hospital with a plan. I gave it to them. I'm like, this is my plan. This is what you're going to do, and this is what you're not going to do.
Uh,
Of course, it went out the window because I started having like crazy complications. And when
ooh,
complications show up, then it's like, okay, let the doctors do what they do.
very true.
But I'm happy that she made it through. She's a
Mm-hmm.
super trooper. And
Yep.
within 2 months, she's back. Make sure she wears a back brace, man. And
Back brace.
yeah, just do
All
it.
right.
Just do it to do because my son is about to be 9 tomorrow. And
Whoa, happy birthday, King
yeah,
or
and
Pharaoh.
I'm
King.
actually still dealing with pain from
Ooh, wow.
back then. But anyway, do you guys plan on getting married? Do you plan on?
Do we plan on it?
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know what? To be honest, in the very beginning of our relationship, I was completely against marriage. And I was like, listen, I don't think I'm ever going to get married. I let her know that this is how I feel. This is my experiences have told me, have suggested to me that it's probably not good for someone like me.
Someone like you.
Yes.
What do you mean by
Um,
that?
I guess just someone, like I said, who has had my personal experience with my family members and people that I know in their situations in marriage, my relationship experience, me having trust issues and feeling like women just break hearts, having my personal heartbreaking experience. And then just me thinking logically, me being a logical thinker, I'm just like, this kind of, it doesn't really make sense to me. Like, why is this determine our love for each other? I mean, so all those things combined, I was like, all right, yeah, I don't think marriage is ever going to be for me. But I've been slowly but surely like opening up a little bit. I'm still on the fence.
She's wearing you down, baby.
She
She's
might be,
wearing
she
you
might,
down.
she might be wearing me down, but because
And
she's wearing
women
me
do that
down,
too.
yes, but because she has not pressed me, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's why she's
Mm-hmm.
wearing me down, because she hasn't pressed it on me and pushed
Mm-hmm.
or gave me the ultimatum. Because I feel like if she did, me being the rebellious Aries that I am, I would have been like, "Dad, son, no." But because she has not pressed me and she's been like real cool, I'm just like, you know what? I would look at it more as like a gift to her. Like, I feel like you deserve this. This is something that you want. You deserve this, and I'm thinking about
Oh,
granting you this gift. So I don't
well,
know. So I'm on the fence
here's the
with all
thing.
that's being said.
Here's the thing, right? The moment you have a thought, it
Uh
already
huh.
exists somewhere, right? You just
Gotcha.
now have to walk to it, which entails taking little steps towards that. So the fact that you've already considered marriage, you created it already. It's there
Mm-hmm.
somewhere. You
Gotcha.
can either say, I'm going to walk to it, or as I'm walking to it, I see it and I take a detour. And then you're not
Sure.
doing it anymore. But you've
Completely
already
get that.
created that. And if this person is deserving of everything that you have to offer, absolutely go for it. But I think what I'm not hearing, what I did hear you say is it would be a gift to her,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't hear you talk about how it will be a gift to you
Uh-huh.
because there is nothing, and this is no offense to anybody,
Uh-huh.
anybody, there is nothing more divine and appropriate spiritually, mentally, everythingly for a man in this world than a woman. There
Mm-hmm.
isn't.
Uh-huh.
There is not.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that women break hearts can't be a fear because men do it too.
Facts. Super facts.
Like my heart right now, if you see my heart right now, it has a bunch of holes in it.
Oh.
It does.
Uh-huh.
But the other like perk of having a woman around you is we are so resilient, right?
Mm-hmm.
We will go through heartache after heartache and still try to love again.
Very true.
A man will be like, oh, she hurt
Guy,
me one time.
guys are so weak in that manner. Weak, and I say weak because people look at it like guys are so tough and strong, but I believe that it's a bit of a weakness. A couple broken hearts and we done. It's like no,
What?
like fuck all these bitches. Like, I mean, that's where you see a lot
I'm
of those
out.
guys that are like that. Like fuck these bitches and
And
calling
honestly,
women
women
out of
too.
their names and women.
Women too. We both do it.
But I feel like guys, like you just said, women are more resilient. Guys are not in
Absolutely.
that manner. Like one or two heartbreaks and it's over. It's
Agreed.
over. I mean, so.
Agreed. Because after my first relationship ever, Lord, I felt like my emotions and mental
Mm,
is, well, to me, the equivalent of being dragged by a train. That's
that's
my
crazy.
imagination at play. Like I'm crazy like that in my head. But
That sounds bananas.
it's it's bananas are delicious. It sounds worse than bananas. So it's like the equivalent of being dragged, and when the train stops moving, it's like, well, damn, okay,
I didn't
what's
went through all
left?
of that.
Yeah, what are
Shit.
we gonna do with this?
Yeah.
And rebuilding um after that is pretty much
Difficult.
so much work. It's so
Uh-huh.
hard. And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't want to get married because
Mm-hmm.
when you get that crack or the heartbreak, you're like, you know what? I don't want to go through that again. I don't want to start over and get to know this person, then find out that they're crazy, and then they find out that I'm crazy, and then everything's going to fall apart. It's
Uh-huh.
all fear. It's all fear. My stance on marriage is, well, first and foremost, I do not believe by nature people are supposed to be monogamous. I don't believe
Mm,
monogamy is an innate human trait.
mm,
Um, but the amazing thing about us, right, is we have free will and we have the ability to adjust and adapt. And if we really want to do something, we can build up the mental agility or stamina to withstand whatever. So,
mm,
um, we've all been in relationships where we're like, I am loyal to this person. I am faithful to this person. You know what I mean? There might be somebody you're looking at, or there might be somebody whispering in your ear, and it's probably making you consider jumping out. And then you, free will, this is where it comes in. You now have a decision to make. So, as much as, yes, monogamy is a hard thing to do,
Mhm.
pulling it off, it's literally a matter of choice, yes or no. And that's the incredible thing about being human. So the idea or the fact that we are, I'm calling it a fact, right? We are not meant to be monogamous is not an excuse for people to be running around slanging dick all over the place
Okay, because I was gonna say,
or
all right,
slanging vaginal.
vaginal.
Because people do that. They'll be like, we're not supposed to be faithful. But here's the thing about being faithful, especially in marriage. You made an agreement with somebody. You make an
Uh huh.
agreement. And
Uh huh.
if you're not able to be monogamous or faithful, and I think this is where the issue comes in. People are afraid of being honest, right? People don't know how to be raw and honest. It's
Uh huh.
very rare that you'll have someone say, you know what, I'm sorry, I do not know how to be faithful. So I'm letting you know up front, or I don't want to be faithful. I'm letting you know up front that you should not expect that from me. It's not going to happen.
Hmm.
Instead, people are like, yeah, we're together. We go together. We
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
It's only you. Apple of my eye, whatever. But then they go in the bathroom. They're like, hey, Becky.
Why, Becky? Why?
We're going to
I know.
find out at
I
some
know
point why
why. I
Becky. We're
know.
going to find out at some point why Becky. But Becky is just a
Yeah,
cute name. It just,
it is. It's always the easy name to go to.
yeah,
I don't know
it's.
why, but it just is.
And then Beyonce helped us make
And
it a
it,
scapegoat. Scapegoat.
yeah. And you know the funniest thing is like I know a lot of Becky's, but I know in everyone's mind they think that it's a white girl, but usually they're not white
Right.
because Rebecca is usually like a Hispanic name,
Yeah.
Rebecca.
The
So
first Rebecca I knew was not white. So, no offense to anybody. That's not what
yeah,
we mean.
yeah, yes, just
But
just saying.
unfortunately, but if you hear us say something like, um, who's this woman? Who's this woman that's complaining?
Karen,
Yeah,
we know,
sorry, Karen in my family or the
we
Black
know.
Karens. Apparently now
Black.
Karen is the. It can be a dude too. I didn't even know
Really?
when that happened. Yeah, my kid introduced me to that. She's like, "Mom,
Ah.
we're watching a compilation on YouTube of Karen drama," and I'm like, how is, I don't understand this, and they're like, "Oh, that's because the guy is the Karen." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know that," but in
So
my
Karen
head,
is like an energy. It's like
a
if you got
vibe,
this energy, it's you.
and you're tantruming, we're throwing tantrums.
Ah, the Karen
Yeah.
energy.
So the
So
marriage thing, right?
yeah, I got a question.
Mm.
You got a question for me, or I got a question for you.
Hmm.
Why do you think marriages aren't lasting like they were in our grandparents' generation?
Because pussy is mad available and free.
This is true because of the interwebs, right?
The interwebs and a lot of things happened in society where people, especially women, kind of picked up this thing, this free energy, right? This open energy about sexuality, which is also fake. We're going to get into that later on. But this whole thing, I am also a sexual being. I can be free. I can sleep with whomever I want to. That's great because it eradicated the suppression that kept women in this box where we have to be proper. I can't show my arm. Like, there was a time when this right here was improper. Oh my God,
Mhm.
she's showing her shoulder, but then we got to the point where women are more open, we're more free to do certain things, especially sexually. And
Mhm.
although that's a great thing, it also, everything kind of gets out of hand at some point, right? So now we're like, I sleep with your man.
Mhm.
And that, you hear it in songs. I've got your man and you can't do anything about it.
About it.
Stuff like that. Now it's cool. Now you can put a beat on it, dance to it. And I think the availability of people who are willing to cheat and people who are willing to give it up. And it's not just the women, obviously. The man is a part of this. He's an accomplice in the whole thing. But the ability to cheat easily, I think it's one. Um, and then there was a time when marriages were important because of economical, political, and reasons of status, right?
Mhm.
We, a large chunk of women needed men to survive. Well, you're 18 now. What are you going to do? Nobody's hiring you. You need to find you a husband.
Mhm.
That was a thing. There are so many different things, but the cheating and then the finances, I feel like those are two big reasons why this thing is shifting. And then today, we're like, I have my own money, which is in part
That.
credited to feminism, right?
Mhm.
I have my own money. I am able to do whatever I want.
Mhm.
I don't need anybody in here making noise, throwing their underwear on the floor, snoring, leaving the toilet seat up. Like,
Uh.
seriously, we've gotten to
Uh.
the point now where we don't even want to deal with each other. We give up on every little thing. So he snores, I can't sleep with him. Girl, you should hear the way he chews. I can't date him.
Uh.
Every little reason we use to run from each other. So I think that, to answer your question, I'm sorry I
Yeah.
didn't have a shorter version.
No, no, it's the longer the better. I
But
definitely
yeah.
agree. I think it's a lot more. You brought up some great points, the money thing, because obviously there was a point where women couldn't hold certain jobs and they couldn't even work at all, or
Right. Or
the
or
the money
they were
gap.
suppressed. I wouldn't say they couldn't
Yes,
hold the jobs. They could, but they
or they
weren't
couldn't get a job. Like
allowed.
women
You know what I
stay
mean?
at home. Yeah,
Hmm.
women stay at home and
Absolutely.
all this
Bread
stuff, and then
maker.
yep. And then the money gap is just so preposterous that it didn't even compare to what men are making today, or at the time it didn't
Mm-hmm.
compare at all. So I think that's big. I think mostly it's the internet though, because it's just so easy. The accessibility is just so crazy. It's not even funny. It's
It's
just like
instant. I can pick up
instant.
my phone right now and find anything.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Anything, anyone in another place, or you like this type of girl, this size guy, a guy with this type of money or this job. It's just like you go
Yeah.
online and you look for it, just like anything else. Like you can Google any type of information, you
Anything.
can find any type of person that you would like to be with. So I think that has definitely deterred
Access.
people, you
And
know.
we're spoiled, aren't we?
Oh
Just the
man.
other night, I'm with my boyfriend and it's pretty late. We're hungry. And I feel like this is about food, right? But I feel like it also parallels relationships. So he's like, "What do you want to eat?" I'm like, "I'm so tired. I don't want to go to the kitchen." Right? He ends up going out for a while, comes back with a salad, and I'm like, "Oh, yes, salad. It has apples, cranberries." I'm so excited. And I was telling him, I'm like, it's crazy how we could have gone to the kitchen if we didn't have a choice. and
Uh-huh.
just made damn peanut butter and jelly sandwich and be happy
Uh-huh.
and took our asses to bed. But we have that access. We are so spoiled. We
Yep.
can get up in the middle of the night and go find a salad and come back and feel this gratification. I feel like it's the same thing with relationships. When you're home with
Mm.
your wife, you're looking at her like, I don't think I want this damn peanut butter and jelly. This peanut butter and jelly ass wife. Let me
Uh-huh.
go out and find me a steak.
Yep.
Good luck with
And
that damn steak with your arteries, sir.
yeah. And that is true. And that's what happens a lot. That's why a lot of these relationships don't last. A lot of these marriages don't last. And I actually have I got some information from like the CDC and the census. No surprise, but the marriage rate has declined substantially.
Yeah,
But on the other end, the divorce rate has fallen in the past 20 years. What do you think about that? So it's less divorces and less divorces and less marriages.
that's interesting. I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
I find that very interesting. What I would say is, people today,
Mm-hmm.
we don't necessarily allow others to force us into stuff. Does that make sense? So if we're not with it, it's not happening. And we don't feel like we need to be
Uh-huh.
married. A lot of us, like, we don't see the benefits of being married when we can
That's
get all that stuff
that's
on
my
our
point of view.
own, and then I can sex as many people as I want, you know?
All right.
That was a
Okay.
test and you passed.
I was like, all right, you just took
Gotcha.
me left right
Good
there.
job.
Okay.
But yeah, we're less inclined to jump into stuff because we don't feel the need to. We have our own things. We have access to whatever we want. So why get married? But it would be interesting to know why people are sticking it out. Is it because this is my little theory right here right now, right?
Uh-huh.
Is it because people of today are marrying for love? More people today are marrying for love. The people who are marrying for money is a very low amount compared to the people. Most people in this country specifically marry for love.
Uh-huh.
Maybe that's the reason why people are not breaking up as much, because you didn't come in for 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 to the marriage to
True.
have a nice house. You
Mm-hmm.
can you imagine being in a marriage and you cannot stand your spouse? You can't stand
Mm-hmm.
them. But if you leave them, you're going to be homeless, you're going to be hungry,
Yeah.
or whatever you think in your mind you're going to be, because it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
Um that doesn't happen today. We're in
Mm-hmm.
love. I love you. You don't chew loud. So
Mm-hmm.
let's do it. I
So
will
let's do
rock
it.
with you.
Let's stick it out. I saw another part of an article that was saying that the boomers were more frequent to repeat being married and divorced. So that brought the rate of divorce higher because people get divorced like nothing. How many old people that I've been married 4 or 5 times, like that doesn't happen anymore. Like
Yeah.
usually it's one time and then it's done. But back in
Yeah.
the day it was like married, divorce, married, divorce. So that, and everybody was doing that. So that was bringing up the divorce rate
Divorce. Yeah,
a
makes sense.
lot.
But
And
I
nowadays it's like, nah, if it doesn't work one time, I'm never
yeah,
getting married again.
because I love you, and I think back then as well, there was a lot of people felt obligated to get married. Like, why are we in this relationship? What are we doing? The goal was marriage. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? As opposed to today, a lot of people are in relationships and have no direction, no vision, no plan. They're just in it and
Mm-hmm.
going. And
Yeah.
to me, I'm like, yo, I can't go into a car with friends, any damn body. There's nobody that can call me and say, get in. What's the first thing you're going to say?
Mm-hmm.
Where are we going?
Where we going, bruh?
That's the same thing with me with relationships. Like, why? Where are we going? What's happening?
True. True.
Skrillex, let me out by the light.
What's that? Cuba Gooding? Was it Cuba? Yo, let me out.
Yo,
Let
I
me,
cannot.
yo, let me out.
I will open that door and jump out as soon as you slow down and you start doing 15. I will jump out and get that bruise and get up and walk back home.
Do a roll and everything.
Listen, I am a person of analogies and metaphors.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I could tell.
you're going to see them. They will
To
come and you're
visualize
going to be like,
everything you say.
what is that? Yeah.
You can paint a whole movie
So who's the
with
first person to get
everything
married?
you say.
Like, who started this shit to begin with? And why did they do it?
Great question. I would love to know.
Well, I did a little bit of research and found
Okay.
out that the first recorded marriage, we don't know if it was happening before that or not, but the first
Mhm.
recorded marriage happened in Mesopotamia. And
Those weird people.
I will call that Africa. I'll call it Africa because I be
Okay.
I will put people in Africa. People
Uh-huh.
who don't even want to be in Africa. I'm like, you're African. Are you from
Yeah.
Iraq? You're African to
Uh-huh.
me. So that's where it started, and it really was a ceremony all about status and politics and wealth and bonding families that could solidify certain treaties. So
Mm.
that's how it started. And it's crazy that today people look down on women, right? Who marry for money, or I guess men do it too once in a while. People who
Oh
marry
yeah.
for money, they're like, well, these women today, they don't even love you. They don't even
Gold
want to love you.
diggers, all of
Gold
that.
diggers, whatever. And I'm like, as a matter of fact, that's a myth. It's false.
Mm-hmm.
Women today are actually marrying you for money way more than your grandmother, your great grandmother, and the ancestors before that. Marriage was never about love back in the day. It was all about how many goats you done bring, how much money are you paying. If the groom's family show up and the coins ain't looking right, they will get denied.
Mm.
I'm sorry. This this you can't take care of my daughter. You can't have her. I'm sorry.
Makes
That
sense.
is completely that's precisely where that mindset of today comes from. It's always been a way of solidifying relationships.
Mm-hmm. So, like status wise though, like, all right, this guy has this. I mean, when you say relationships, you don't mean
Marriage.
like love relationships. It's all about, you know, monetizing
Yep,
your relationship and
absolutely.
putting our assets together, which
And
a
I don't
lot of
hold
it is
it
today. But
I don't hold it against people who do it now. I feel like if that's your value, if those are your values, then we have to live through our values, right? Do your thing.
uh-huh,
But I think it's
facts.
malicious when you're rubbing on this dude and you're like, baby, I love you.
Yeah, yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
love. But in your heart, it's not. That
yeah.
I don't agree
You're
with.
trying to get a come up.
Yeah, absolutely. And guess what? There are men who, powerful men, wealthy men, who understand this whole thing. They understand the game and
They play.
they will accommodate it. They
Uh-huh.
understand that if I go into a relationship with this woman, I know what is required of me.
Hmm.
I know she is coming into this relationship for money.
Yeah.
And I know that I have to get my coins up. I know that I have to take care of her. And they make that agreement.
Uh-huh.
And I'm cool with that. But the ones where we marry people under false pretenses and we lead them on, that I don't agree with.
That's what it comes down to. And back in the day, this is why a lot of this stuff is all about culture, because back in the day, everybody was with it. Everybody understood what the marriage was for. It wasn't like we're
It's an
hiding anything.
alliance.
Yeah, it's alliance. The whole family's with it. Like, oh yeah, like the dad is giving his daughter to this guy, sometimes underage daughter,
Yeah.
but that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
To this guy so that he can get money to feed the family or the
Yeah.
status, upgrade the status of the family.
Yeah. And a lot of
And the
times, guess
same thing's
what?
going on now.
A lot of times, the bride and groom have no say.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what they think. It doesn't matter what they like. It's not about them. It's about the goal at hand, the bigger picture, the greater good. And you got to go with it. Nobody cares about your opinion. You're marrying Johnny. Johnny brought the most goats, but Johnny is
Yeah.
ugly. But he got the most goats.
But Johnny got the goats. So
Yeah.
what do you want? You want to eat tonight, or you want love for the
You
rest
want
of the,
curry goat or you want peanut butter and jelly?
you want to be broken love or
Drunken
rich?
love. I'll take drunken love. I have to be in love.
So whoever has the wine, that's who you're marrying.
Not the liquid wine.
Who got the grapes?
You know what? That just went over your head. Let it go.
That
Let it
went
go.
over my
Let it
head. Went
go. Let it
completely
go.
over my head. But
Some Caribbean,
you know
some
another
Caribbean
thing.
person's gonna know what I meant by that.
I'm Caribbean, kind of, sort of ish.
You're a Marabian.
Yeah. Oh, that was a good one. I like that. Ameribian.
I just made that up.
That was
Shit,
a good
that was
one.
good.
Ameribian.
Woo.
We gotta make a shirt.
You know, sometimes the words
Ameribian.
come up through your throat, but you have no idea what's gonna happen when it hits the edge of your tongue. I didn't know that's what that was gonna be.
And look at you,
A Marabian.
Ameribian.
New
You
word.
know, another concept I was thinking about. Why don't we skip? I don't want to say skip, but to me, the wedding is more important than the marriage.
To a lot of women. Honestly, I usually, when it comes to certain things, I don't like generalizing. I don't like when people say, "Oh, women do this and men do that." I feel like we both do, but when it comes to the wedding,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I've never ever seen a man say, "I can't wait to have all my boys in suits and the flowers are going to be marigold, whatever." Never, ever. It's always the woman who
Yeah.
wants the wedding, right? And a lot of times, guess what? People just want the wedding. They don't want the
Uh,
marriage because,
yeah.
girl, when he starts throwing his socks
Uh-huh.
in your face,
I'm with the wedding too. I prefer the wedding over the marriage, but not. And what I mean by that is, I think the celebration of our union is more important than the paperwork. I think the getting people together and having, our family celebrate us being unified is more important than us signing a piece of paper, signing our lives over to the government for them to tell us that we are together forever.
okay. So, would you say it's okay? I think I understand what you're saying, but
Uh-huh.
be careful.
It's a thin line. It's a thin line. It's a thin line.
Yeah.
And I understand what you mean. I'm not saying that I'm all about the glitz and glamour,
Right. Yes.
wonderful stuff of the wedding more important than marrying someone. No,
Yeah.
I'm saying that I think that the idea of celebrating our union is more important than, it's really the government part is what gets me.
Absolutely.
Having the government
Absolutely.
involved in our
Yeah.
union, I think that having our family involved in our union is more important than having the government involved. That's exactly
Yeah.
what I
And that's why, for many people, let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen a very, very powerful politician, let's say a president of this country, who was single?
mean. Oh
Have
no,
you ever have you ever seen a single president?
no,
That's another thing.
probably will never happen.
That's another thing. And what ends up happening is you have people who do fake marriages, right? People who will marry for a business purpose. Um, that's another type of marriage that happens. People who make an agreement like, yo, as this powerful person, and as a person who wants to gain more power and step into certain rooms, I cannot do this as a single person. There are certain rooms that you cannot go in as a single person,
Uh-huh.
period. You have to be, well, maybe, damn, well, except Rihanna.
Rihanna's different. Rihanna's
Exactly.
different. Rihanna demands respect
She's like,
and
I don't care about y'all. I coming in.
open the door.
Damn, I need to work on my Bayesian accent. That's the one accent I just cannot nail.
I suck at all
Y'all,
of them.
y'all are crazy.
All
But
of them.
you have issues with all the accents you said?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't do Haitians either. So,
Why?
but I like when you do your, uh, what is it that thing? What's that thing you do?
What do I do?
What is it? What? If you said what?
Why you? Oh, why
Oh, that.
you? Why you? Why you do this? Eh?
I love it. But anyway, I do not believe that we are meant to be monogamous, and I've always had the same um viewpoint on marriage, the
Mm-hmm.
one you started out with. But over time, for me, I believe that we are living in a society where I think a partnership carries you much further than doing it by yourself. I do
Mm-hmm.
believe that we have so many responsibilities and way more responsibilities than ever before, right? There's so many things that we have to do. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
if you are let's say you're a hip hop artist, let's say you are an actor or whatever, you need a team. Everybody needs a team. That's what people will tell you all the time. As an entrepreneur, if your business is starting to grow, you need a team. You,
Mm-hmm.
the same applies for personal relationships. You need a team. You need your people. And who's better than a spouse?
uh,
Who's better than a spouse? So at the end of the day, I do believe that marriage, not just for love, but also for support, also for companionship, to have that person who has your back no matter what is so important. I cannot imagine. Listen, in 2019, this back injury that I sustained from giving birth, it came
mm,
full of force back then. Like when y'all came to my birthday party, I was a hot mess. I was in so much pain, y'all wouldn't even know.
wow.
I could barely stand up. Like if I stood up for more than 1 minute, I felt like I needed to throw myself on the floor. I was in
Mm,
that much pain. Um, Ultimately, I ended up spending most of the time sitting out back because I couldn't stand up. But during that
sheesh.
time, the birthday party was the last thing that I did for 2019. After that, I'm like, I'm taking the rest of the year to just be, because this right here is a wake up call, right? And during that time, if my boyfriend wasn't there, I have no idea how I would have maneuvered through that. I mean, it would have happened, right? Because we have to maneuver, we have to get through things. But
Uh-huh.
that support and that person who is there no matter what, we will
Mm-hmm.
be annoyed, mad, or whatever at each other. But if there's a task at hand, we get it done, we knock it out. And then later
Mm-hmm.
on, I'm not talking to you. You know what I mean? You're still annoying. But um, just having that experience where I went through one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through on a physical level, and obviously it manifested from mental stuff. um I really needed that support. And having that person, it meant everything. And even now, with everything that I have to do, this guy pulls up. Like, he pulls up for everything. He shows up for
Mm.
everything. So, yes, it's great to be single and have the reign to do whatever you want and not have to answer to people. And I don't believe marriage is for everybody. And you have to be honest about that. You have to be able to tell yourself, marriage is not for me.
Uh-huh.
Therefore, I'm not going to go into that shit and ruin people's lives. That's
Hmm.
important. A lot of us will jump into marriage because it's the right thing to do. I really love this person, but completely ignore their personal values. Your value is thoughtism. You're a thoughter.
What?
So if your value is to be a thought and just do whatever, then live your life. Be
Uh-huh.
that. Be happy in it. Be free.
Uh-huh.
Sling your whatever. But
Sling your thing.
sling your thing. But
I have a something you said made me think of this.
mhm.
So, do you see like like a bunch of people who operate businesses that are not corporated, so they don't have their EIN numbers. They're still operating the business, making money and such, and doing stuff like that. They're limited to certain things because of that, but they're still able to operate their business. And then, of course, you have the people who are incorporated and they're able to have access to a lot of different things. And do you see marriage in that way as being a good business move, where obviously if you guys are not married, you can operate, and do certain things together and it be fine and dandy. But if you are married, there is a plethora of other things that you can now access as being one entity, being married
Absolutely.
under.
I think that that is absolutely a great thing for people to do. Um to go into a marriage to create better business moves. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? If that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
I do think that if we're on the same page, once again, I don't condone people leading other people on. I'm going to go into this because this is going to benefit
For
my
me.
business or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and you know what's crazy? I was dating a guy one time who, um, he straight up and down asked me. He was like, "Are you in this relationship because you feel like it would be beneficial to you?" And I was like, "Yes, yeah." But I did not go into it with the sole intent of getting certain benefits because
Mhm.
I'm not one of those people to put up with your shit because of
Mhm.
things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
will let all those things go if I'm not happy. I do not believe in sacrificing my soul and sacrificing my emotions and my heart to get things. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
There's nothing worse in the world than sitting around with all of these things, but you're sad. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Stressed.
So you're stressed out.
Stressed
So
instead of blessed.
exactly. So I do believe that if marriage could help you out in the business realm and you see that partnership as a great business move, go for it. I'm for it. Why not? People do it every day, and it's the same as hiring a team. If you're
That's
becoming
what you were saying before, and I was like putting the correlation together.
right,
Like,
it's the same as hiring a team. If you're growing as a business person, now you have 100 tasks that
mm-hmm.
you need to knock out. You can't do it by yourself. You need people.
Facts.
And to me, there's nothing better than going through these crazy things as a business person or entrepreneur or high stress job
Mm-hmm.
and coming home to a person that offers you a space where all of that shit just disappears.
Mm-hmm.
I will drive a car to Japan just to get a hug from my man. Just a hug. Because those hugs are priceless. Like when we have that embrace, I'm telling you,
Aw.
he's the best hugger ever. And when we have that embrace, everything just disappears. And I'm like, God. Okay, you can go back home now. Thanks. But
uh,
yeah, you need that balance, and if the idea of being faithful or getting your heart broken or whatever it is that's holding you back from it, then sort that out. You know what I mean? Go through the
mm,
motions. But it would be nice to have that road dog, that
yeah, yeah,
person
yeah.
that's my guy or that's my girl,
And like you said, building that team, because I'm so for family businesses. Like I see you already doing it,
Yeah, for sure.
and I'm so for creating something like that. And
Absolutely. I'm with that. It's also really cool when your kids see, when they're able to witness their parents
yeah,
fighting for each other.
sure.
It is because our unhealthy, based on what I heard you say and my experiences, our fear surrounding marriage comes
Hmm.
from seeing unhealthy marriages.
Facts,
Because the
super facts.
marriages that I saw, I was like,
What's
no,
the
I'm not
that don't
doing
look?
that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like this don't look good to me. This don't
No,
look like a good choice.
we ain't doing it.
This don't look smart.
Mm-mm. We're good.
But
So,
I mean, I don't want to allow someone else's experiences. I think it at some point it's good to let those experiences kind of guide you to making the right choice, but it shouldn't completely affect you into deterring a whole path because of something that you saw. Because I mean, how many times have we seen something like, oh, that looks crazy, I'm not doing that, but you still kind of do it yourself and it works out for you, because it doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to work out for you because
yeah,
it didn't
because
work for
it's not a
someone else.
lifelong commitment. You're not stuck in it.
Yeah. So in conclusion, marriage, what is your final statement? What is your conclusion to the idea, the culture, the word
Well, I
of
think
marriage?
marriage is a beautiful thing. It is not absolutely necessary. It depends on your values. If that aligns with your values, I say go for it. Do not sabotage it because of your own personal fears. But
Mm.
if it's not for you, do not go into it and ruin somebody else's life and waste people's time when they could have been with somebody else. So I am all for it.
Woo.
I am all for it. And I'm also not for it.
It's good. You got to have the balance.
And that
That's what
is
this
a
life is all
wrap.
about.
We are wrapping up.
You heard it here at the Nola Row Experience.
Yes. Thank you guys for tuning in, listening, watching, and hit up the YouTube, subscribe, like, follow, share. We love you. And come back now. Come back soon. You hear?